Luca Nation, episode 663 of Lucas Tigers and Bronze. We have the day after the NFL draft. There are some big trades going on, two closeout games in the NBA, and a whole bunch of other stuff we're here to discuss. So we hope you stay tuned. We hope you enjoy this episode. And thank you for liking, for subscribing, for sharing. You guys know we never charge a dime for our content, and we're always aiming to just find interesting topics, guests, ideas to discuss with you guys. And if we do a good job, all we ask is, hey, share it with a friend, So without further ado, let's get into the show. Cage, you look mean mugging right now. You look serious.
That's what I do.
You look focused. You look like Anthony Edwards before Game 7 tonight. Or is it Game 6? No, it's Game 7.
It's Game 6 tonight. They're trying to force a 7. So, dude, I mean, listen, let's just get right into it, right? I have a question for you, right? Is it on its face ridiculous for a card that sold a year ago to be 6x the price a year later? And before you answer this, I want you to just do me a favor for the YouTube people doing this. Pull up your computer for me and pull up the PSA webpage, right? Because it's absurd, right? It's impossible for a card that's worth thousands of dollars. We're not talking about Mikal Bridges that was worth $1 and then he's worth $6. It's impossible for a card that's worth PSA and go into the pop report for me. Wouldn't it be impossible for a card to a well-known card, a sought-after card, to go 6x? That's crazy. I mean, you want to make a post about it, right? So do me a favor. What I want you to type in here, because everybody knows the card I'm talking about, right? I mean, to be offering a card for 6 times the money. Who would ever, in their right mind, when they see a sale, pay 6 times the price for a card a year later? So do me a favor. Type in 1969 Alcindor for me.
And the auction price is realized?
No, in the pop report. But you can do auction price realized. You know what? We're going to get to the APR the same way, whichever one you want. So 1969 Alcindor, right? And now click on the tops one. It's card number 25, I think. Scroll down. So 1969 tops. See, it's card number 25. Click on that. Now click on the APR on the top. Right there. Next, APR. Scroll down to card number 25. Click on scroll down to 25. Click on Alcindor. Okay. And now click on 8.5 up on the top. All right. And what you'll see here, I hope, if I'm right, is that August of 2019, this card sold for $14,400 at Heritage. And then August of 2020, exactly 1 year later, it sold for $84,000, which, if my back of my envelope math is right, it went 6x. A big card. This isn't, like I said, a $10 card that went to $50 or anything like that. This is a 5 figures that almost went to 6 figures, and I think it's probably more than that now. And I think the reason for that is many times over. You have a bunch of different reasons. You have that the market was booming, the market was, expanding, people were, discovering the real price for these things. Modern cards were going up, and people finally took a look at vintage cards and the like. But also, when you get down to the nitty-gritty of this stuff, you realize that prices can fluctuate tremendously when you're dealing with rarity, when you're dealing with something that someone wants and that they know that they might not get another opportunity to get. And when it's rare enough, someone is able to kind of almost basically set their own price for it, especially if you're going to wind up getting, 2 or 3 people bidding for it. It becomes fun when, a card like this that's an 8.5, it's one of the 2 dozen best copies that there are, because I think there's only, if memory serves, 2 10s, 17 9s, and 5 8.5s. So why are we talking about this? Right? Why are we talking about cards going 6x? Why are we talking about, when there's a rarity, prices can fluctuate? Because today on the collectible app, a Patrick Mahomes card was released for early access. and it was a $1.9 million, asset value, and the card is the same one that sold a year ago for $312,000. So it's 6x the price is what it's being offered for on the fractional collectible. Now, I'm going to pause there for a second because I said a lot. I led you down an Alcindor path when I'm really talking about this Mahomes card. I led you down a path where our card went 6x because there's only 24 of them. The Mahomes is a 1 of 1, which is even more scarce. Although some people would say there might be more than 24 Mahomes 1 of 1s in any given year anyways. Maybe it's not that scarce. We'll stop and drop this one here. This is a new piece of information. It's a new story. It's a new, fun one that's out there. Obviously, Card Porn posted about it. We do a daily show, so it would be a disservice to not even discuss it, especially given the fact that, we are, we have a relationship with Collectible. We have already reached out to Collectible, and we'll reach out to them again after the show to see if they want to chat about this, if they want to, come on and talk about it, or, just maybe answer a couple questions about the valuation and the whole deal. That said, I think I can come up with how they value it, and I also will implore you guys to take a second and think about your collection and what you might have bought a year ago, and if there might be anything in there that you wouldn't sell for anywhere near what you paid for it a year ago, right? If you were somebody who was into wrestling cards before Prism, exploded on the scene, right? And those wrestling cards have gone crazy, or UFC cards, or F1 cards, or, a myriad of things that I don't have to, waste all the time to mention. There are probably dozens, if not hundreds of things we could all discuss that have gone 6x in this amount of time. There's also been a tremendous focus on, obtaining these grail type 1 of 1 cards, Logo Man, Shield, these one of ones of, the named players, the Lucas, the Mahomes. We know there was a Mahomes 1 of 1 that sold for what, $3-4 million, right? So this doesn't even, it pales in comparison to that. It's a 1 of 1, rookie auto. So I get it. I don't know how the math was done, and listen. We maintain our credibility over all else. And I first blush to hear something sold for $312,000 is now being offered for 6 times that. It doesn't look right. It looks like a question that should be answered.
Yes, and so first thing, we reached out to Collectible. Let's see if we get them on the show where that goes. But let's have some fun, right? You're a lawyer. I grew up arguing with the family over dinner.
Yes.
Let's have some fun, shall we?
Sure.
Let's break it down because I was going to the SGC. I was going to my PO box to pick up SGC submissions when I saw the post, and then literally got home, had maybe half hour to do some research. And here we are. So we'll kind of have this dialogue live on the air. First, the nature of our relationship with Collectible is we do a weekly fractional report where we get a variety of data, what's upcoming, what's been bought out, what's available for early access on the app, what's IPO'd.
We talk about what's good and what's bad, what looks like it's trending in the right direction, what may not be trending in the right direction. We talk about comparable sales, and if the Brady ticket price is at 1.9 and one sells for 1.4, we tell people trading this week is probably not going to be that great for you because of a recent comp. So yeah, I mean, and make sure.
We were surprised the Wayne Gretzky OPG card wasn't bought out when there was a buyout offer, because we thought the one on Collectible was a little bit higher than it probably should be, and the eye appeal wasn't where it needed to be. So that's number one. When I first saw this, 312 to 1.9 mil, and we're talking about Mahomes. We're talking about practice. We're not talking about some Hall of Famer yet.
Talking about practice?
Okay. I was like, what is happening here? Right? But
isn't Mahomes, though, somebody that someone's already paid $4 million for?
So you start digging behind the surface, behind the curtain, behind the surface.
Digging.
So first thing.
You digging?
On Collectible, there are 8 Patrick Mahomes items. Okay, 8 different items.
8.
Cool.
8. Ocho.
So
ESPN the Ocho.
On collectible, if you guys go to this specific item, this is the 17 shield. This is 17 flawless shield signatures RPA 1 of 1. It's available for early access. And what they do here is try to, with comparables, try to get to where the price should be of the card. Two things to note, and these are kind of contradictory in nature, but Kate, tell me what you think. So if you look at 4 of the items, so 2 of them have been bought out. 1 is coming soon. This one's available for access, and 4 are trading. The 4 that are trading are down 30%, down 56%, down 44%, down 28%, right? So we're in the age of data. There's a new data aggregation company that's basically comes out every month. But I'm going to go to the one that, we believe has the best, most accurate, most vetted data. I'm going to go to Card Ladder, right? And Card Ladder, Cage, has an index. I think you were going there. Card Ladder has an index. Mm-hmm. So the gentleman that you brought up, Lou Alcindor, if I'm going to share my screen here, Cage. Sweet. His index, you just brought up that his card went from 14,000, 8.5 to 84,000. Lou Alcindor's Card Ladder index is up 11% over the last year. Mm-hmm. Okay. 500% over the last 2 years. You could see that spike. 11% over the last year. And 50% over the last 6 months. Cool. So we just saw that data. Kareem. That same player or that same index, but for Patrick Mahomes, is up 97.47% over the last year.
Wow. When Kareem was 11.
Up 620% over the last 2 years.
6x.
Over the last 6 months, down 8%. So as much as you guys are out there, you see things, you see data, and you ask questions, we're the same. If I had all of the answers of what the future brings, I would be a billionaire by now. We all heard that statement. So when I saw that data, I didn't think Mahomes index would be up 100% over the last year. I would think it would be flat, if not down, given how much he's run over the last 2 years. And he didn't win a Super Bowl. He didn't overperform, Yep. When I gave you that data, right, on collectible, his 4 highest priced cards are down, 30%, 20%, 40% since IPO. But the Card Ladder Index has it up 100% over the last 12 months. Walk me through what you're thinking about, how you're processing that data.
Well, 2 things. Number 1, I don't know what's in the index. And number 2, what I'm processing there is that depending upon what point you're trying to make, a chart can tell a story for you, right? So if you want to say that Mahomes is flat or down, you use the last couple of months. If you want to say Mahomes' prices have doubled, you use the last year chart. If you want to say Mahomes' prices have gone 6x, you use the last 2-year chart, right? So wider out shows you that, there's been, an increase. Maybe the 312 was a bargain. I don't know. Maybe the 312. Maybe I don't remember the April auction last year. I think there was a whole bunch of Top Shot in it. So maybe the Mahomes 312 got buried by all the awesome Top Shot stuff that was in that April auction from last year.
Oh no, we just got PTSD. That was your Top Shot auction. That was that. Wow.
So
what a gamble. That was.
So there you go, right? So I mean, listen, seriously. What it shows you, of course, is that it doesn't show you everything. And one of the funny things is that to the average collector that reads the card porn site, they say, wait a second, Mahomes is crap. Mahomes lost last year. He's been passed. Everybody likes other people now. He just lost the cheetah. His card's down. We all know that the PSA 10 Prism rookie of his is a fraction of what it was after he won the Super Bowl. That thing was $10,000. Now it's like 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever the heck it is now. Clearly, his market's down. It shouldn't be up 6x. But, and big but, bubble but. What the Card Ladder and all the other indexes are not going to tell you is that there is this other world out there of these high-end cards. And if you pulled up the Zion index, I'm sure it looks like garbage. But if you pull up the Zion 1 of 1 or National Treasure Index, which they don't have, it's going to look very different. because the people who own those are very different people. The people who buy those are very different people. There's not as much fluctuation in price. And if somebody wants to grab a Zion 1/1 from the person who owns it, they're probably going to have to pay more, even though he hasn't played for a year. They're probably going to pay more than that person paid. That's Zion.
Zion's index, for context, is down 31% over the last 12 months.
Right, but has anybody seen one of his national treasures sell for less? One of his 1/1s, one of his out of 5s, any of his high-end stuff sell for less than what it's sold for? No, even though his index is down. Because for better or for worse, there is that dichotomy, there is that split, there is like the caste system of collectibles and cards, right? And this 1/1 Mahomes, just like a 1/1 Luka, ungraded for $4 million, just like LeBron cards, just like the triple logo man that everybody's trying to pull, right? These are cards that indexes don't tell the story, right? These are assets that people are just going to chase, and every time they sell, they're going to sell for more. And the person who got it for $312, one, maybe they thought they got it for a steal, and two, maybe they were like, I'm not getting rid of this, I won't sell it. And maybe they've had offers. Maybe they had a $1 million, 1.2, 1.5 offer. And like, you know what? I could have accepted a 1.5 offer, but instead, I'm going to do this fractional. I don't want to sell the card. I'm going to maintain some of the equity in it, and I'll let other people, buy into it. I don't know the answer. I'd love to have folks on. Obviously, at first blush, just saying something is 6 times what it was last year, it happens. It doesn't happen that often. And we're not talking about like a Cooper Kupp. We're talking about, we're talking about Mahomes, whose cards already had a nice little run up in them, probably the year before that card was sold. But I think where you're going with it is, comparison wise, right? Like, comparables, right? When that Mahomes sold for $4 million, the way that I guess you got to do this is there a card that's like that sold for like a fraction of that of a different player? Like, is there a Burrow or a Herbert? Like, let's go there, right? Do you know of like a similar card for any of the other quarterbacks? Shoot.
So I don't agree with that pricing strategy, but the reason that pricing strategy comes up, I think, is because there are so many 1/1s now,
yep.
Right? So I'll leave it at that, because I think that's actually the crux of everything is how do you truly price something, right? If there's so many Mahomes 1/1s. So just to bring up some comps, there was there was a Herbert. So
right.
The Mahomes National Treasure Shield sold for $4.3 million. We remember that happened, right? That was the National Treasure Shield 1/1. That sold 8x for the price of what Herbert's National Treasure Shield sold for.
Herbert sold for about $500,000. Right?
Correct. I'll pause there.
So it's 8 times. So you have if you want to be a real rudimentary, you have a marker, right? So you'd like to try to find this card for Herbert.
So Herbert's Flawless Shield, this card for Herbert sold for $229,000. So about half of the price.
If you do 8 times that, right? 1.6 plus 30, it's like 1.85. Right?
Yes.
1.85 million, which is similar to. So I mean, you'd want to have a little more scientific methodology of calculating, but it's hard, right? In real estate, you figure out what a house is worth because you got comparables, right? I mean, this is what they're doing. They're finding a comparable. They're doing, okay, this card for Herbert sold for this, right? The Herbert one sold for 1/8 of the Mahomes.
So we found comps, right? We just went heavy into data, data supporting and data against it, but we try to look at data as non-subjective, as objective.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to do your own gut, right? Your own gut instinct. Like, what do you feel? When I saw this, I thought that even if this justified this comp, you'd be buying at the top. Yeah. So for me personally as an investor, and we had the show last week. You guys listened to the fractional report where we talk about things being too high, too low. We didn't bring this up to you guys as an opportunity for early access for a reason. I personally don't feel – I don't believe in Mahomes in general at the current prices. But I also don't feel that this 1/1, which we've discussed, there's a lot of them, justifies that price tag. And you don't get rich by buying at the top. So my personal gut tells me that, even though the data – I was like, okay, there's some data contradicting, there's data supporting, okay. But you also have to have a gut instinct as an investor.
Listen, I'm with you. I mean, not only would I not buy one of his cards for $1 million, but I'm a Raider fan, so I wouldn't, piss on his mouth if his gums are on fire. But let's take it a step further, right? This is one of those things here. You have data out there, and I want to maintain, credibility where we are, right? You can cut this however you like it, right? But, PWCC has some great data on it. It's all free. Just go right into their fixed price. Go right into their their research tab and put up PWCC sales history and type in Mahomes 1 of 1, right? And you'll see other 1 of 1s that have sold. You'll also see 1 of 5s that have sold. The most expensive 1 of 1 that sold on there was the National Treasures red NFL shield for 2017 that sold in November of 21 for $456,000, including buyer's premium. There's a colossal shield National Treasures that sold for $288,000. Now, more recently, a National Treasures black Patrick Mahomes rookie patch auto 1 of 5, which, I mean, I know this is an RPA. It's 1 of 5. The other one was a shield, so I know it's different, but this is just, it's proving the point that there are so many 1 of 1s that isn't really a 1 of 1 anymore. But believe it or not, the 1 of 5 version of that sold for $630,000. I guess that maybe is kind of like the 1 of 1 that sold for $4 million. This is now the 1 of 5, so it sold for $630,000, right? These are all National Treasures, guys. These are not, these are not the same deal. But it's so weird, man. 2017 National Treasures. There is the red NFL shield Patrick Mahomes rookie patch auto 1 of 1. There is the colossal Patrick Mahomes rookie NFL shield auto 1 of 1. There's a blue RPS Patrick Mahomes rookie patch auto 1 of 1. All sold on PWCC in the last 6 months, and they're all a couple $100,000. 180, 288, 456. So if you're using those as comps, not going into Herbert and multiples and all that stuff, 1.9 sounds high. But I guess people like flawless now. I honestly, it's one of those fun ones where I wish I did a lot more research on before we chatted about it. But we do want to take, we take advantage of the fact that we talk about this every day. So there'll be people posting about it on Instagram, but there's not going to be another podcast talking about it. So you're welcome. but the best part would be to have the guys on and let them chat about it.
Perfect. And I'm sure they'll be willing to jump on. So we'll get to that soon. Probably schedule it maybe for Sunday during maybe the beginning of the fractional report. Now, NFL draft, AJ Brown to the Eagles.
Boom. Yeah.
NFL is such a. I mean, give me your takes, man. I don't get it.
My takes are plentiful. Number 1, AJ Brown was awesome his first 2 years in the NFL, had over 1,000 yards receiving. Last year, he played 13 games and had something like 60 catches, less than 1,000 yards receiving. He was a little banged up, a little injured. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he's a great receiver, but he's now the number 4 paid wide receiver in the league, I believe, with a $100 million contract, $25 million a year, slots him right in there with the money that, just under what Adams and Tyreek Hill got. He is not that guy, but he's better. Go ahead.
The Titans think that, and the Titans knew that he wanted that money. They weren't going to pay him that, so they had to trade him.
Well, they couldn't pay him that, which is what's happening now, right? So I'm going to give you some real analysis of the NFL, some real football stuff, you name it, right? You watch the games. They had to get rid of him because your boy Tannehill's contract is too much money. And they couldn't pay Tannehill $30 million and A.J. Brown. So what they've done, you now are going to have this split in the league.
Schism.
You're going to have quarterbacks making money, and their receivers are either going to be young, on their rookie deal still, or drafted, just like Tennessee moved into that category, right?
Cool.
And Aaron Rodgers is in that category, which is why Devontae Adams is not there, right? Because the entire payroll would have just been those 2 guys. Just can't do it and actually build a team, right? So he moves over. Derek Carr makes money. He's not, he's not a high, he's not the highest paid QB. Plus, they also, I think, can get rid of him after this year. So it's calculated. We'll see what happens. But you have the other end of it, right? Which is Philly, right? Philly has our guy Hurts, who's on rookie contract still, right? So you can spend the money on a wide receiver and build an offense around him and spend that money on A.J. Brown, right? The Cheetah can go to Miami because who's the quarterback? Tua on his rookie contract, right? These guys who are making this big money, they're basically the reason why the draft was wide receiver heavy last night and something like, I think it was 6 wide receivers in the first 18 picks, right? Is because wide receiver this year became the money pick. It became the money play. And teams who have money spent already on somebody else, usually a quarterback, had to make a play for a wide receiver in this because you no longer can have both. You can't have it both ways. And listen, here's the fun. This may not last, right? Because this is the beginning of this. Devontae, Tyreek, A.J. Brown, hell, Christian Kirk, they got to go out there and perform now, right? Because they're setting the bar, right? They got to go out there and they got to win. They got to put up numbers. They can't go out there and do nothing because if they do, teams are not going to be paying that money for wide receivers anymore, right? But it changed the landscape of the NFL, and you now have, teams can spend that money on a wide receiver if they're not spending it on a QB. Once they're spending a QB, it becomes very difficult right now with where the money is going. And I'll take it one step further. I think Philly did a great job. I think Philly has you and I can spend the rest of the episode, if you want, talking about whether or not Philly is now the class of the NFC East. Let's call it the NFC East anyway. But the Cowboys are that team, right? The Cowboys are the just by default, because the Giants and what are they called?
It's a weak division.
The Commodores. What
Washington Commodores.
I don't even know. The Guardians, the Washington football team. They are terrible. So it just leaves the Eagles and the Cowboys. I'm going to tell you, Jalen Hurts right now may be the player with the most pressure on him to perform this year.
I was going to ask you, is Gardner Minshew a play too? Because
no. And I'll tell you why, right? They only have Hurts locked up like they need to have him this year. He's somebody they can cut loose next year. They don't have to sign. Just like the Giants didn't commit to Daniel Jones for his extension, just like, Kyler Murray, they did. But, on these rookie deals, they get to that year and Hurts will be there. They'll know this year if he's their guy. Like, he has no excuse now, right?
They're going to give him run.
He's got to show up and he's got to show out. He's got Miles Sanders. He's got Devontae Smith. Right, he's got Rieger, who the hell knows. He's got Goddard, and now he's got A.J. Brown. Like this has all the makings of being a legitimate fantasy offense. And if you're a Hurts believer, you have to be salivating at the numbers that he's going to be able to put up because, A.J. Brown, go run. They're not going to have a complicated offense for him. It's going to be a ton of RPOs. It's going to be a ton of, you can use his wheels, but you don't have to. That 5-yard get that he was going to have to scramble to the left for, now you say, A.J. Brown, just do a 5-yard slant. And you go ahead and create something after I throw you that 5-yard. They're not going to make him be, a pocket passer that has to make all the throws. Now, third down is a different story. You're going to have to make the throws, but he's going to have every opportunity. And I'm going to go out on a limb here way ahead of time and tell you I think he's going to fail because he's not that guy. He's not an NFL quarterback. He's not a throwing quarterback. And that's why they marched him out of Alabama. He couldn't throw. Not that Alabama ever needs quarterbacks, but they moved on from him. And I don't think, unless he gets real coached up, right, and unless he makes some significant strides in the passing game, they'll be good, and they'll put up some numbers, and he'll have some yards on the ground, and he'll have some touchdowns because he's got the weapons around him, and the numbers will look good in the periphery, but he will not take it to that next level unless he takes it to the next level. He's got to work on that game. He's got to learn how to throw. He's got to work on his mechanics a little bit. I just don't think he's that guy. But the Philly, they did great. The Giants had a great draft. The Jets had an amazing draft. They got 3 of the what some people had top 11 guys on their board. They took that defensive end out of Florida. But the later rounds, they came in the late 20s. They picked up the defensive end from Florida State. Johnson in there? I forget his name. It'll come to me before the end of the episode. But like an edge rusher. So they got like 2 of the top, defensive players, and then they got what some people are saying the best wide receiver in the draft also. And they got some weapons too. Zach Wilson, please stand up. So yeah, man, it's going to be interesting.
Who's the best wide receiver in the draft?
The kid from
Sauce?
No, Sauce he's a cornerback.
Great name, no?
Sauce is a defensive back. Yeah. It is. No, the kid from USC, the taller wide receiver.
Ahmad Sauce Gardner. Garrett Wilson.
Yes, Garrett Wilson, a wide receiver. Garrett Wilson. That's it. My apologies. I am, and Jermaine Johnson was the defensive end, right? So Ohio State wide receiver Garrett Wilson, and Florida State defensive end Jermaine Johnson. Cincinnati cornerback Sauce. Sauce is good if he's healthy. Yeah, man, the draft is fun. I can't wait for the second round, and then the third round will be fun because my Raiders will finally pick. I was hoping that they made a trade, they did something, and you always want your team to be on.
The Raiders didn't have anything in the first round.
No, or the second.
That's just they took the day off.
That's how you get Devontae Adams on your team. You give up your draft.
Gotcha. NBA is a little different, man. NBA is a lot easier to keep up with. Two rounds of draft picks, and basically the Thunder have every draft pick ever. So
yeah, for the next couple of years, right?
Okay.
For the next.
So stay tuned. Tomorrow, guys, we have your PWCC weekly auction.
Well, listen, before we run,
yeah.
don't bounce on me yet, man.
I'm not going anywhere.
Give me a snap prediction. Is Memphis able to close it out in Game 6, or do you think Karl Anthony Towns is able to, rally the troops and force a Game 7? I got to tell you, selfishly, I want to see the Timberwolves win because this is one of those series that I like watching. I want to go and watch 7 games of it. It's like a heavyweight slugfest, but an ugly one. Remember that fight I had you watch? Chemo against Bob Sapp? Like, neither of them were fundamentally sound at all. And at any point, you could bet that either one of them might win. And they were coming back from being down. And that's what this series reminds me of, man. It's like, it's just slugfest.
My gut tells me that the Grizz took the best shots from the Timberwolves and fought them off, and today's going to be a blowout.
Okay.
For the Grizz.
Well, you're on record.
I think the Timberwolves, dude, they put up a fight, man. They put up a fight after fight after fight. They're not that talented of a team, and they kind of they punched above their weight class.
Yeah,
I think that runs out just energy wise. They've given so much, and they've a lot. I mean, Edwards is a rookie, and they lean on him for so much. D'Lo is wildly inefficient. Cat is good, but he's still a little soft. And then remember, this is all with Jaren Jackson Jr. playing D-level basketball at best. If he even has a decent game, forget about it. So I think the Grizz take it. I think they know the importance of taking this game. By the way, if any of you guys are in the Miami area, hit me up. I might take one of our fans out to the Miami Heat Sixers game.
Nice.
Tickets are relatively affordable. If you guys are in South Florida, Boca, Fort Lauderdale, Miami area, tickets they're affordable. So maybe we'll take a fan to a game. Why not?
I'd like to go to a game. Take me. So let's get some credit.
Sunday at 1 p.m. No, Monday at 7:30 p.m. Guys, sorry.
I think that the Timberwolves force a Game 7. So far be it for me to be on opposite sides of an equation from you. It has been known to happen. More importantly, I took my shots at Chris Paul. I will allow them to stand. I think that when Booker comes back, even though he's not at full strength, when he came back in this past game, you see what that Suns team can do with Booker out there as opposed to without him there. Much easier game, although got to give the Pelicans, real credit for, them fighting as well, taking that to 6 games. I said that the Suns were going to win. Booker being out there allows Chris Paul to play a very different style of game. And it's amazing. You would think that he would have more offense when Booker is out, but it's not. Like it's offense within the flow of the game that he's able to get.
14 for 14, 33 points.
For 14 out of 14 shots. The most ever shots in a game without a miss in the NBA playoffs, in the history of the NBA playoffs. Got to give that guy some credit. He also hit his free throws. He played a very good game, and it wasn't all gimme shots. There was a 3-pointer in there. There was a lot of mid-range. I did watch that game. I will give Chris Paul a lot of credit. I mean, that guy, what did it for me was his interview at the end of the game. Not the 14 for 14. That's amazing. Give him some credit. Give Booker, credit. Give that team some credit. And if I were the Golden State Warriors, watching this team with now, a getting healthier Devin Booker and the way the Warriors played their last game, a little, discombobulated against.
It's gonna be a good series, man. But you can't skip ahead to it. You can't skip ahead.
So but the point I'm trying to make, let me not get off Chris Paul. I don't want to inflate his prices because, I don't want his cards going up in value. But Chris Paul, at the end of the game, they gave an interview. And remember where the series was closed out. Do you remember where it was?
Yeah, New Orleans, where he built his legacy.
Correct. And he was mindful of that. And he thanked the fans and said how much he loved the fans and how much he loved the organization and called out people who were there, people he built up his start in the sport there. And even went as far at the end of the interview to say, that he did not like that he had to close these guys out because when he's not rooting for his own team, if his team's not playing, he actually roots for the New Orleans squad. Which you don't hear a lot of people say that often, but that's cool. It's a human thing, right?
You are such a cheeseball with the things that you love. Like you love that Devontae Graham thanked his mom.
Yeah.
You like that Chris Paul thanks his old fans. You love such interesting stuff.
If you're gonna put your money into somebody, right? Don't you want them to be a good person? I know most people don't care. You just want them to have the stat sheet, but you know what happens with that? And maybe I've been around long enough. You can put your money in champs, but if the champ's a dick, even after their career's done, you don't sleep well. That guy might end up in jail. That guy might end up doing something stupid. I doubt Chris Paul is going to be doing that. I doubt Devontae Graham is not an all-time great. Well, the real Chris Paul, please stand up. It does matter, from an overall perspective. And look, I factor that into the whole. If somebody's going to be a generational player, if somebody's going to be a talent, usually they have something more than just skill on the court or on the field that makes them relevant and keeps them in the conversation. Hey, before we go, can I give something that popped into my brain, a comparison just for 5 minutes? I was thinking about this because, my daughter's birthday is next week, and she was thinking about going to the movies with her friends on Sunday. And I was like, oh, I wonder what movie she's going to see. And then I was like, oh, maybe when she goes to the movies, I'll come home and I'll watch, maybe I'll watch.
Make sure she keeps the ticket stub.
No, and it's part of that, right? So ticket stubs, throw it out the window, wipe your ass with ticket stubs. I don't give a shit. But I thought to myself, don't bury the lead here. She's going to go watch whatever she's going to watch. And I'll come home and I'll watch The Godfather. When the movie ends, I'll go pick her up. Maybe I'll let her, she can have some pizza, some Italian ices with her friends or whatever it may be. And I thought for a second, I said, that's a great sports card comparison, right? That is a good way of explaining the popularity of modern cards versus vintage cards. Now, stick with me. And guys, go ahead and hit me on the YouTube comments if you think I'm being an idiot here or, send me some messages. But people will pay money to go see a movie that came out this week with Mark Wahlberg or with Tom Holland what movies are out now, man? I don't know.
I haven't been to the movies in forever, bro.
Clearly they are well attended and people will spend their money to see them, right? More so than people will spend their money to go see something else, right? But they'll spend their money, they'll go see a movie, they'll sit down for a couple of hours, they'll enjoy themselves. Why? Because it's new. It's a new release. It's something that's exciting. It's something that they haven't seen before because it's new, right? And maybe it's got the star of the day. Maybe it's a franchise of the day or of the year, right? But chances are that if you think about the last 20 movies that you saw in the theater, you probably didn't watch those movies over and over again when you got home. You probably didn't buy the DVD. You probably didn't, pay for it on Apple or whatever it is and want to own it and keep it, right? Those movies that you watch at home, those are the franchises that after they were new, they had lasting power, right? Now, you don't know what that's going to be when it comes out, when it's new, But over time, each generation, each decade has their thing, whether it's Star Wars. Everybody knew it was going to be a big deal when it came out, right? And Star Wars is big, but now people still watch Star Wars. Star Wars is still as relevant as it was when it came out. People still spend money on Star Wars, right? Whether it's Rocky, whether it's,
Wedding Crashers,
Marvel movies, that kind of stuff, right? The Marvel franchise. So there are these things that when they're new, people spend their money on, but they wear out. And people aren't spending their money on them anymore, right? Unless it's something that is got staying power. I guess what I would compare that to is cards now, right? You may love to buy Flawless right now because it is the new and shiny thing. You may love to open up this year's release of some basketball product, National Treasures, Prism, whatever it may be. And yeah, there may be somebody in there that turns into that generational great, but chances are the vast majority of people in there won't. Sure, there might be a Star Wars, which will be Michael Jordan, Sure, there may be a Marvel franchise, which maybe is Tom Brady or LeBron or something like that. Maybe there's something else that comes out, but I guess what I should stop doing is shitting on modern and shiny and stuff, right? Because I go see movies.
I don't know if I've ever heard you shit on modern and shiny, but I think the point is sound. I mean, a point is made in only the way Cage can make it.
I don't put it in my Christmas tree. You know what I mean? Like, I don't put the shiny stuff in my Christmas tree. No, but I mean, I guess there's room for it all, right? As long as you realize its place, right? The movie industry is not going to stop making all of these movies because 1 in 20 turns into a real blockbuster and 1 in 100 turn into something that people actually cherish over time and rewatch when they're home, right? So it was just. I mean, look, I apologize for the 5-minute, kind of diversion, but it had me thinking about it with more of an open mind, right? Everything does have its place. Like, there's nothing wrong with going and spending money to watch a movie that you may never watch again, and it may turn out to suck. Now, that's 15, 20, 30, $100 if you bring in a family. I wanted to make the comparison because I'm like, what is she going to watch today, And Ian and I are going to open Revolutions box today. Chances are we're going to get garbage in it. You know what I mean? And it's not going to be anything in there that is,
Be more open-minded is kind of the
I mean, it's part of it. It's part of it. But yeah, I mean, it's. I was just trying to draw a comparison in my own brain. My brain went there when I was dropping the kids off from school this morning, and I said, wow, it's sort of similar, sort of analogous. And I'm sure you can make the same type of, thing with anything else, whether it would be Pokemon or whether it's comic books or, anything else like that. There's room for it all. And I guess the end of it is people appreciate Star Wars movies. People appreciate, those franchises that are out because they're measured against what's coming now, right? Those things don't, they don't hold unless you have something else to continue to compare it to, right? And I don't want to share on your LaMelo stuff, guys. And people spend a lot of money on it, but when people spend all this money on LaMelo turns out to be a great player, but he's not LeBron, he's not Michael Jordan. It makes people appreciate Michael Jordan and LeBron even more, and their cards go up. So it's one of those, like,
I mean, I think that happened with KD.
Yeah.
I think KD's early exit in the playoffs made people appreciate LeBron a lot more.
I agree
entirely. That's not necessarily even modern compared to
KD is the DC franchise. I mean, they just can't get it right with those Batman and, Justice League movies.
Metaphor Fridays.
Well, I mean, listen, I don't know where the hell I'm going with it, but most of the time I start talking, I don't know where I'm going, and I usually don't know where I'm ending up. But that's what makes everybody love me. That's the deal. I'm telling you what I'm thinking, man.
It's sort of true. Do you think are you an acquired taste?
Yes, 100%. 100%. Oh my God, no one. I mean, you have to have a certain tolerance for stupidity to get along with me because I'm definitely stupid. But yeah, I mean, no one's giving me a badge, and Michael Saylor is not texting me. I'll tell you that much. I got my own way of doing things.
Your love for Michael Saylor is
I'm gonna mention him every day so he comes on the show.
Yeah. I don't know why do you do that. Do you know who he is?
Like, work for Letterman.
Or is it fun?
We did this yesterday, and I started singing about the drunken sailor, and you didn't even get it. I got messages from people about me singing about what do you do with the drunken sailor early in the morning. Do you think Michael Saylor ever gets drunk and then sings that song to himself?
For me, it's nice that you get messages because that means that people are your message.
Dude, people communicate with me just in movie lines. I have conversations with our listeners only speaking in movie quotes. I once spent a day talking to somebody only doing one movie, My Blue Heaven, back and forth. You know who you are, Cardboard Underground.
Nothing makes any sense anymore.
Yeah, and to me, it all makes sense.
It does. And you bring joy to people.
Bring joy to people. That's it. I don't care if you buy Flawless. I don't care if you don't buy Flawless. I don't care if you buy on Collectible. I don't care if you think the valuation is shitty. I don't care if you're on Golden. I don't care if you're on whatever it is. Have fun. Enjoy it. Otherwise, what the hell are we doing here? Seriously, what the hell are we doing here? A little positive energy. It's what I learned from Andrew after all this time. What episode number is this?
I love how card porn, and I like card porn's content a lot. I love how he tags like the influencers. He's like, hey, influencers, what did you guys think? Someone needs to break it down. We don't run that company. We're not that big of a deal.
Everything. I'm not. Somebody needs to break it to everybody else. I run it all.
Yeah.
I'm in charge.
Influencers, what do you think? I mean, I don't fucking know very much.
They're asking the wrong guy. They're asking the wrong guy. Andrew's not the guy to ask.
If you ask like how do you create content for different platforms off of one show and how do you scale a content team? Okay, I'm your guy.
They got scales.
They got scales. All right, Luca Nation. Anything else, Cage, before we wrap things up?
No, it looks like we're doing PWCC on Saturday. We'll be doing the collectible fractional show on Sunday. Maybe we'll have some more info and some details about this and how things traded during the week and fun stuff going on. Going forward, we will be breaking on Whatnot a National Treasures football box next week when it releases. So that should be fun. Probably do like a random hit draft or something like that. So if you want to get in on that, stay tuned. We'll probably have some info on our page about that. That's a real step up in class for us from what we normally would break. But breaking with us is very different. We
definitely is.
It's a show. It definitely is. And Andrew is getting an influx of cards for his SGC white glove treatment grading. So, we're posting that stuff. If you're interested in that,
picked up Andrew. 4 packages today, Cage.
Nice. There you go, dude. Well, listen, I'm gonna
prep them and sub them on Monday.
Nobody else offers, right? You offer something that no one else offers. You offer you. And for all your, interesting quirks, that I have learned over the last almost 2 years now, anybody who says they're getting better service anywhere else is just wrong. I mean,
that I stand by because people they call me or text me, and that stuff's easy. I think my only quirk is I'm a pretty introverted guy. I need my space at times. I need, all this social media, all this, conversation. Sometimes I need to pump the brakes, turn a movie on, shut off the world. But I love service, man. I love service business. I grew up cafe where it was just I remember you. I know what kind of coffee you like. I know what kind of sandwich you like. I want you to leave with a better feeling than when you got there. And the same thing with the cards. I want people to have a good experience. I know how difficult and how scary it could be to ship cards cross country, thousands of dollars worth, and not know what's happening to them, what stage in the process they're at. So I love it. It's fun.
There you go. So message Andrew if you got some cards to submit to SGC and you want white glove service on them. Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm sending you cards. I want white glove service. How about this? I don't have to do it myself. I want you to do it for me. I love it.
Super simple.
That's enough stuff. We'll have some more draft stuff. We'll finish up the NBA. Maybe, maybe going forward, maybe early next week, we'll do kind of like a preview of the next round of the playoffs. It's Dallas against Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. That'll be fun to watch. The way Dallas plays a good team defense. They scramble for the ball. Even what's it, Bullock? Even he was all over the place getting steals and stuff. Luka had a bad game. I call out, he was one away from a triple-double basically again. He did not look good, and he came out and said it. He said, we're at the end of the game, I watched the interviews because I like to say, he actually said on live TV, he's like, we were bullshitting around. He's like, oh, shit, sorry. He's like, they're like, no, we've heard worse on camera. Don't worry. So, he's like, yeah, he definitely did not have his best night. His shooting was off. The team was off, and they still gritted out a win against a crappy Utah team. But
they're gritty, but I struggle to see how they put up a real fight against the Suns.
Well, sir, you
have not been really
watching Jalen Brunson.
You think they're going to put Mikal Bridges on Luka?
Probably.
That's a fun matchup. Dude, probably. Bridges has played over 40 minutes in every single game in the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, to be young. Luka was forcing some bad shots. Who was on him? Clarkson was actually playing some pretty crazy defense on him, which is interesting because you wouldn't think that. But yeah,
does a sweep hurt Luka's prices?
I mean, before we talk about him getting swept, let's acknowledge the fact that that's the first time Dallas has won a playoff series since 2011. It's been over a decade. The last time they won a playoff series was when Dirk won it all with them.
And they got maybe the easiest matchup of any team in the first round, minus the Hawks.
I mean, I think they probably would have had an easier time with Denver.
Than the Jazz? Dude, the Jazz are terrible. The Jazz are the team that you could give them wide open shots and they're going to lose.
All right. Well, I mean, and this is the case because they had a wide open shot to end the game and they didn't hit it. Even after Brunson gave him, the missed free throw and gave him a shot there at the end.
I don't think they like Gobert. I don't think the Utah team likes Gobert. I say that because when he goes to the free throw line and make or miss free throw, they don't high five him. Like they do the high fives in between first and second foul shots.
Mm-hmm.
I always look at that. Like, do they all high five? Do they not? There was actually once a stat that Steve Nash used to high five the most out of any team and out of any player on any team in the league. And there is some neuropsychological stuff that we could talk about, but no one dapped up.
High five. Listen, if you happen to be one of the few people on our Whatnot stream for my football break yesterday, I gave away a really nice 2015 Court Kings Rudy Gobert on-card auto out of 99. One of my many giveaways last night. I gave a lot of stuff away at the end. A lot of fun stuff. So join us on Whatnot. You never know. I might give something away. Andrew, white glove it up, my friend. White glove it up. Listen, I want that in people's brains. I want you thinking white glove service. Why? Because no one else is doing it. Everybody else will get your cards. They'll get to it when they get to it. They'll mail it. It'll go across the country and back. Andrew, he puts on the white gloves, and he walks it in with the gloves on. When the guys at SGC, they turn around and say, "What are you wearing gloves? It's Florida." And he's like, "This is white glove service, damn it."
And where's your other glove?
Where's your other glove, Michael? That's it, SGC. Send your cards to Andrew. He'll take care of them.
Thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a PO box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is. 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com, or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luca Nation.